Today's Mass readings and Gospel reflection. January 12, 2021. The Tuesday of the first week in Ordinary Time. First reading. A reading from the letter to Hebrews. Hebrews chapter 2 verse 5 to 12. It was not to angels that God subjected the world to come, of which we are speaking. Instead, someone has testified somewhere. What is man that you are mindful of him? Or the Son of Man that you care for him? You made him for a little while lower than the angels. You crowned him with glory and honor, subjecting all things under his feet. In subjecting all things to him, he left nothing not subject to him. Yet at present we do not see all things subject to him, but we do see Jesus crowned with glory and honor, because he suffered death, he who for a little while was made lower than the angels, that by the grace of God he might taste death for everyone. For it was fitting that he, for whom and through whom all things exist, in bringing many children to glory, should make the leader to their salvation perfect through suffering. He who consecrates and those who are being consecrated all have one origin. Therefore, he is not ashamed to call them brothers, saying, I will proclaim your name to my brethren. In the midst of the assembly I will praise you. The word of the Lord. Responsorial Psalm. Psalms chapter 8 verse 2ab and 5 to 9. Let response be, you have given your Son rule over the works of your hands. O Lord, our Lord, how glorious is your name over all the earth. What is man that you should be mindful of him? Or the Son of Man that you should care for him? Response. You have given your Son rule over the works of your hands. You have made him little less than the angels, and crowned him with glory and honor. You have given him rule over the works of your hands, putting all things under his feet. Response. You have given your Son rule over the works of your hands. All sheep and oxen, yes, and the beasts of the field, the birds of the air, the fishes of the sea, and whatever swims the paths of the seas. Response. You have given your Son rule over the works of your hands. Gospel reading. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark. Mark chapter 1 verse 21 to 28. Jesus came to Capernaum with his followers, and on the Sabbath he entered the synagogue and taught. The people were astonished at his teaching, for he taught them as one having authority and not as the scribes. In their synagogue was a man with an unclean spirit. He cried out, What have you to do with us, Jesus of Nazareth? Have you come to destroy us? I know who you are, the Holy One of God. Jesus rebuked him and said, Quiet! Come out of him. The unclean spirit convulsed him and with a loud cry came out of him. All were amazed and asked one another, What is this? A new teaching with authority. He commands even the unclean spirits and they obey him. His fame spread everywhere throughout the whole region of Galilee. The Gospel of the Lord. Before we proceed with the video, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel. Also, please hit the notification bell, so you won't miss out when we release new videos. Feel free to share your comments, suggestions, and reflections at the comments section down below. Thank you and God bless. Now, let's proceed with the video. The reflection on today's Gospel. Sequence of the Gospels of the days of this week. Yesterday's Gospel informed us about the first activity of Jesus. He called for people to form a community with them. Today's Gospel describes admiration for the teaching of Jesus and the first miracle when he expels the devil. The Gospel of tomorrow narrates the cure of Peter's mother-in-law, the healing of many sick people, and the prayer of Jesus in an isolated place. Mark gathers all of these episodes which had been transmitted orally in the communities, joining them together like bricks of a wall. Mark gives them a catechesis by telling the communities about the events in the life of Jesus. Jesus teaches with authority, differently from the way the scribes do it. The first thing that the people perceive is the diverse way in which Jesus teaches. It is not so much the content, but rather the way in which he teaches that impresses the people. For this reason, by his different way, Jesus creates a critical conscience in people concerning the religious authority of that time. The people compare and say, "He teaches with authority, in a way different from the way the scribes do." The scribes of that time taught quoting the authority. Jesus does not quote any authority. He speaks with his experience of God and of his life. His word is rooted in the heart. "You have come to destroy us." In Mark, the first miracle is the expulsion of the devil. Jesus struggles and expels the power of evil that takes possession of people and alienates them from themselves. The man possessed by the devil shouts, "I know who you are. You are the Holy One of God." The man repeated the official teaching which presented the Messiah as the Holy One of God, as a high priest, or like a king, judge, doctor or general. Even today, many people live alienated from themselves, deceived by the power of mass media, mass communication, and the advertising of business. They repeat what they hear others say. They live as slaves of consumerism, oppressed by the power of money, and threatened by debtors. Many think that their life is not as it should be if they cannot buy what the advertising recommends. Jesus rebuked the evil spirit. "Be quiet. Come out of him." The spirit threw the man into convulsions and with a loud cry went out of him. Jesus restores the person to himself. He gives him back his conscience and his liberty. He makes the person recover his complete judgment. It was not easy then, it was not easy yesterday, and it is not easy today to do this in such a way that a person begins to think and act in a way which diverges from the official ideology. A new teaching. He commands even the evil spirits. The first two signs of the good news are these: his different way of teaching the things of God, and his power over evil spirits. Jesus opens a new road in order for people to attain purity. At that time, a person who was declared impure could not present himself before God to pray and to receive the blessing promised by God to Abraham. He should first purify himself. These and many other laws and norms made the life of people very difficult and marginalized many people who were considered impure and far from God. Now, purified by the contact with Jesus, people could present themselves before God. This was a great good news. Today many people do not live, do not think, but rather are driven by mass media. They do not have a critical mind or way of thinking. They allow other masters into their lives. How can this devil be expelled? Yahweh our Lord, how majestic is your name throughout the world. What are human beings that you spare a thought for them? Or the child of Adam that you care for him?